What's going on, everyone? Mr. Mom Collectibles, and I am back with another video. And today we're going to be talking about the newly announced Hot Toys Ahsoka 1/6 scale figure from the Ahsoka show, and more specifically, comparing it to the original DX20 and 21 Ahsoka from the Mandalorian show. And I'm one for myself that does have that original figure. It's behind me on the shelf, USB hacked and lightsabers and all. So having that figure, I definitely was very vocal along with other collectors about if I ever saw a 2.0 or another version of her, what advancements I'd like to see. And I think Hot Toys pretty much checked off the boxes on all those. So what I want to do in this video is do a little comparison between both figures and if I'm going to be selling my old one or if I'm going to keep it and kind of walk you through the process of that. Let's get into it. So as I alluded to in the intro, we're going to be talking about the Ahsoka figure and doing a comparison on the new one from the TV show, the Ahsoka, the white as she's being dubbed by collectors, and the original DX20 and 21 from Hot Toys, the price, the value, what we're getting, and like I said, comparing both figures side by side. And if you have the existing one, are you trading up for the new one? Or if you're going to be just keeping that and having two separate displays. First and foremost, please consider dropping a like on this video and subscribing to the channel if you haven't already, if you enjoy the content. And like I said, let me know in the comments when watching this, if you're someone that has the Ahsoka figure, the original, are you selling that off? Are you going to trade it off? Or are you going to keep it and have two separate displays? Let me know your thoughts. So getting into this, we're going to be looking at first and foremost is the Ahsoka, the DX from the Mandalorian show. It was the Ahsoka, the Ahsoka Tano and Grogu. We're just going to be focusing on the deluxe version. This came in at $315. It is currently waitlisted on Sideshow. I mean, it's been out for a while now. Obviously, the new one's been announced. $315 before taxes and shipping. That's if you didn't find it at a better deal. And like I said, I was very vocal about this figure along with a lot of other collectors. Number first and foremost, why it was a DX. I mean, there really wasn't anything crazy here at the time that really kind of blew anybody away. I mean, you had the eye rolling, a separate eye rolling system here. You had, the base, the lantern. Like I said, this is if you got like the deluxe version. Like I said, you have the lantern that was not USB. You had the lightsabers that were not USB. It did have a full silicon body, which, like I said, it was great because if you wanted to take the cloak off, you had exposed shoulders, so it really cut. It fixed the seams issue that you would have had. But the drawback to her was that it was the elbow situation with the arm where it wasn't full silicone like the Wonder Woman 1984 at the time. Because when this figure was announced, the WB 100 Wonder Woman wasn't a thought to collectors. It wasn't announced yet. So a lot of figures were initially thoughts were they were breaking because people were trying to pose and the ball sockets were breaking off in the elbows because they assumed it was all silicone until it was revealed that it was actually a separate a separate piece. It wasn't all one. So I want to give a quick shout out to Boston Collectors, who actually, when I watched their review, I watched their review prior to me buying the figure. But this is actually the first thing that he did to the figure is that he actually exercised the ball joint a little bit. And so what he's doing in this video, and I'll tag this below if you're just interested. I think Boston Collectors does some of the best cinematography in their reviews and also just overall detail. If you're looking for highly detailed reviews of just every aspect of the figure, this is the channel that you want to check out. But that's what he basically did, and I'll rewind it real fast, is that he's basically saying that before really doing anything, he took the arm out and kind of exercised that joint a little bit so that it was a little looser. I did the same exact thing, and I have no posing issues with her whatsoever. I did outdoor photography with it. I did everything like that. And so, I had no issues whatsoever. So shout out to Boston Collectors for that tip. I took that and I ran with it. Initially, when I got the figure, took the arms off and I just kind of exercised that joint a few times. It loosened up a little bit, and then I was able to pose the figure much easier. But as I said, for that price point, it being a DX, it was very lackluster. Honestly, also with the Bestman Luke, another one that really didn't see why it was a DX. So that being said, my thoughts on this when I was asked, like, hey, what did if you saw another version, a 2.0, or when the show came out, if there was another Ahsoka, would you want? Kind of my wish list was I expected there to be an updated head sculpt. Although these photos were good as here, you see when they started being compared to show stills, their likeness was definitely off. It definitely was, especially when photographing her. When I was photographing her for my Instagram channel, The likeness was definitely lost on certain angles. Dead on, it was good. And then we started shifting left and right and then changing the focal point. The figure lost its likeness very quickly. So I kind of expected an updated sculpt. And then I also expected USB lightsabers. Those white sabers are gorgeous. I love unique colors. I love Mace Windu's purple. I love green. I just love something that's different than red, blue, and green. So to have that ability of them lit up is just great. And so what I did was shout out to Denobi 2. I kind of followed his lead and put little micro LEDs into the lightsaber hills that shine through. So mine are USB quote unquote hacked. So I have mine lit up. And so they look fantastic. I know there's other CCFLs out there that can do it, but I found a much more inexpensive route. And also, I was hoping that a different body or something full silicone after owning the Wonder Woman 1984 plus the WB 100 Wonder Woman. I'm hoping for a full silicone body to avoid the arm issues with the joints. So that was really kind of it. Her outfit stayed the same through the first episode, first few episodes, as we know, until they debuted the white outfit. And then that's instantly when it made sense that we would get the Ahsoka Tano, or Ahsoka the White, she's being dubbed. So this is the figure here. She's $300. I guessed when I was talking to some collectors, I was guessing 270, 290. So 300, wasn't that far off in terms of the price. And Hot Toys, I think the likeness is so much better. You see right there that kind of, she was very, I kind of joked with some people who are watching. She had a very, throughout the show, she had a very kind of famous pose of just crossing her arms a lot and kind of gazing off. And whenever people were in conversation. So I think they nailed it with this photo here, that look. So if you know what I'm talking about, you see the show, she does a lot of arm folding, but it really checked off a lot of the boxes I expected. USB lightsabers, check. Now, obviously, Hot Toys isn't looking to reinvent the lightsaber. They're just replacing those little button cell batteries. So we already saw from the first Inquisitor that got released that those lightsabers aren't fully lit up like a CCFL. They're just basically the existing lights, just you can keep them on all the time and not have to worry about the batteries. No, I have all my lightsabers lit up that way, so I'm not surprised by that, but I like that that's finally included. You also get the two sculpts, so you have basically a neutral expression, plus you have an angry expression if you want to, have her in battle. I do think that likeness is so much better. I think they captured it. I am interested in seeing what this figure will look like in hand, and like I said, if it suffers from that angle test where she loses her likeness depending on the angle, but I do like what I'm seeing, the improved sculpt. The base there is is a reused base from the WB 100 Wonder Woman, that circular base, and then they kind of added that rock behind it, that pillar. But that base itself is a reused base from the Wonder Woman, and I think a couple other figures have it, but the WB is the one that stands out to me when I saw that. I love the white outfit. It's going to pop on the shelf. It looks great. And then they also highlight, I'm trying to look forward here, they do highlight the articulation in the feet when they talk about kind of a split boot, like a split cut in the foot. Where you have better articulation right here. All new joint designs allowing wider range of articulation. I know for me, the original Ahsoka was very top heavy, where if you posed her a certain way, she had a lot of trouble. Mine had a lot of trouble balancing with her feet when she had both sabers in kind of a neutral pose. And you just want a little bit more range of motion, like in the feet to balance her. She'd fall over all the time. My figure fell over a couple times. So she's very top heavy. So I'm assuming that's something they kind of saw and they kind of touched on, so you can better pose her up if you want to do some action poses. But I have no complaints about this figure. I mean, it's everything that I expected it to be. I'm not shocked we got it. I'm not surprised that we got the USB sabers. It's the stuff that collectors were talking about. I think the only thing that I am concerned about, and I'll pull it up here, what's in the box, is the body itself. A detailed likeness, the two face plates. I am interested in if the face plate on these work on the original. So that way, if you want to swap one, have one with the angry, one with the neutral. So I'm interested if the face plates on these, you can do the exact same on the OG. The OG, you had to obviously take the face plate off to access the rolling eyes and stuff. So I'm interested in that. Or I'm sorry, it wasn't necessarily the face plate, but her her headpiece came off. That's what it was. The headpiece came off. I'm forgetting the name, but I want to but the headpiece came off and you were able to access it that way. So I'm just interested if what the compatibility is there with that. But I am interested in the body though. It says body with 28 points of articulation with silicone material made arms. All new joint designs allowing wider range of articulation. So it says approximately here 28.5 centimeters. And I'm interested to see what this one clocked in at 28.5. and the details on this one. It's 28.5 centimeters also, so it's the same height. I know there were some collectors out there that were talking about it's a different size body. She looks taller. On spec wise, it's the same centimeters, 28.5 and 28.5. So that I'm not going to be shocked if we get the same body with the same arm system. If it's a way for them to cut a corner someplace, I mean, they're giving you the LED, the USB lightsabers, they're giving you two face plates, different base. If there's one area that Hot Toys is going to eventually potentially cut a corner, it very well could be the body. So I'm just kind of putting that out there now. The outfit, granted, I'm not going into super detail on this in terms of the clothing. It has a similar design. I'm trying to find a photo here of her without the clothing on. Let me without the say clothing on. I say the robe. Here we go, right here. I mean, there's definitely similarities between the outfits. I'm not going to say it's a dead ringer. There are differences, but like the belt looks identical, things like that. But there's going to be minor alterations to things that were done. It looks like the shin guards shin guards are different. The boots look like she's wearing sneakers. So there's differences there. So you can't really say they reused the clothing and just dyed it. The baggy pants look the same, so you could have had that material and just dyed it. But if there's a place that Hot Toys would cut a corner, it's going to be the body. I do hope that we get a full silicone body, maybe from the Wonder Woman 1984. Just out of curiosity, since I have you guys here, it's popping into my head while filming this. Let's go Wonder Woman 1984 on Sideshow. And let's pull up the specs on this. Here we go. Here's the figure. I do own it, but let's go with the actual specs that they have listed here. What's in the box? So this body, they're saying she's saying is 30.5 centimeters tall. Now, when they're measuring this, it could be with the armor and all that stuff. Like, so granted, so she's at 30.5 centimeters. And what is the Wonder Woman WB? Let's go Wonder Woman WB 100, because I've seen this floated around, this theory that they're going to use one of the Wonder Woman bodies. And details, what's in the box. She's at 29 centimeters tall. So like I said, we're just going with, they're saying she's 11.4 and this one's 11.22. 11.4 to 11.2. So she's a little smaller than the Wonder Woman. Now, the Wonder Woman might be raised because of the boots and things like that. Like I said, they're measuring her from literally the bottom to top. Same thing with Ahsoka. So I do expect Ahsoka to be shorter. But like I said, I'm just trying to piece it together where it's going to be a crapshoot. So I'm very interested in the first in-hand reviews of this figure. Basically, I'm hoping that's one of the first things that people check out is those arms, because it's either going to make a lot of people happy or a lot of people disappointed. So we're going to see. Now, the age-old question that we're going to get into, the final question to wrap up this, is basically, am I keeping this figure? I'm not sure if you can see, but right there, the little white light right there, that's her. She's right there. For me, I'm going to keep the figure. It's not worth it trying to sell this to take a loss. I don't sell my figures to try to take a loss. That's not what my intention is. She's right there in my collection. There's no problem with her. There are so many drastic differences between this figure and the old one that I have no problem having them in my collection. I am picking up some other figures from this line, the Sabines, for example. Not Tarkin. What's his name? What's his name? I'm drawing a blank. So now the age-old question is, so the age-old question is, so the final question is going to be, am I going to keep the old one to get the new one? I do already have the new one on pre-order. I ordered it day one, along with a couple other figures from the Ahsoka show. I'm not going fully into the line because there is still more figures that potentially could come out, especially some of the troopers, things like that, and that could just be a money pit. I am being very selective with some figures that I'm getting, but I am getting some that will be companion figures to the new Ahsoka White. If you can see right there, that little white saber right above my finger, that's the original Ahsoka. She's living very nicely where she is in my collection, and she's perfect there. I am going to get the new one. For me, it's not worth selling that one, just because I'm probably going to take a loss on it or break even. I'm also, when I bought this figure, I did not buy it day one. I waited a couple months before I bought it, fully understanding a new one could be on the way. I was perfectly fine with that. She works very well where she is there. And this new one's going to be in a different part of my collection with some of the figures from the show. So it'll make a very nice pairing. That's just me. I have seen already on some of the buy and sell trade groups, people dumping them in the 220s, the 200s. Like I said, If they're doing that, I don't know the situation. If they're doing that because they just want to trade up, that's fine. Or if they have to flip that for something, that's fine too. I'm just not looking to take a loss on it because, like with Hot Toys, I never expect to always make profit on some things unless they're exclusives, but my first instinct is not always to sell figures if something comes out. Just like the Batman 1989. I already have the original. I do have the new one on pre-order, so I have no problem with that. Just like when I bought the A New Hope Obi-Wan Kenobi, if something ever comes out again, I'm not going to be bummed about it. I very well may pick that up. It depends. So for me, I'm not concerned about that. Just like RoboCop, I have RoboCop the original, and I have the third version. So I have two different RoboCops. There's enough differences there between them. They have great representation on their own. So for me, I'm going to keep the original Ahsoka just because I think the market could be flooded with a bunch of them, and I'd be taking a loss on it at the end of the day between PayPal fees, all that stuff. It's not worth it to me, and I'm not in needing to sell the figure. So that's my situation. It's where I'm standing with it. But let me know in the comments below what your thoughts are. Like I said, please consider dropping a like on this video, subscribing to the channel if it's your first time. And like I said, leave a comment below what your thoughts are, if you have the old one or if you're just picking up the new one and this is what you were looking forward to. And let me know what you think about all the features and if that $300 price tag is worth it or not, or is Hot Toys kind of pushing that brink? Let me know. But until next time, this is Mr. Mom Collectibles, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care and have a great day.